Okay, Saturday, September 21st, 2024. I'm on my way back from the gym. So this last week hasn't been too eventful. Just been following, two things like this Federal Reserve cut interest rates, and the lower rates, put more money into the economy. People can borrow at a cheaper cost and buy more stuff, but it is kind of strange. Why did they cut rates when the unemployment is below 5%? So we actually have a labor shortage in the market still. When you're below 5%, it's technically a labor shortage. And then housing prices are at an all-time high. And then stock market's at an all-time high. So, that's I don't know if it's politically motivated or not, it just like threw gasoline on a fire when you want to do the opposite. I was thinking they would raise the rates to cool things down and slow things down a bit more. It kind of reminds me of like 1999, 2000, when the Fed started raising rates to cool off the housing market and the stock market, and then, and it actually crashed the markets because they did it too fast. And now they're so worried about a crash that they're trying to be proactive, but the things are better now than they were then, and they have better information. Job market's more fluid with at-home working. People can, switch jobs easier. So I don't know. It's all a bit strange. But if you're holding stocks, it was a good move, So can't complain there. And then what else? The election. So I was following these polls. And, you have a lot of these like, right-leaning poll reviews on YouTube. They, and they're saying that, Trump is actually winning and all this kind of thing. But I don't think so. I actually believe in the polls. If the polls were not accurate, then Trump would be losing in Montana if they were so rigged. But, he's winning in all the states that he would normally win in. And the states that are close, they're indicating that they're close. And they were close before in the last election and the election before, like Pennsylvania. I think now everything is hanging on Pennsylvania and Nevada. I think Michigan, Wisconsin are already on the Harris side. I don't think Trump has a chance. I don't know. I commented about this uncommitted movement where the Muslim voters were shifting to Jill Stein, but I think that was just a protest, and I think they're coming back. I think there was some reconciliation behind closed doors, and it looks like they're coming back to the Harris side. So, I don't think Michigan and Wisconsin are in play anymore. All these states, everything is decided by a few hundred to a few thousand votes. And, if you win the popular vote by even one vote in a swing state, you get all the electoral votes. So they don't give like a proportion of the electoral votes. That's actually what makes the game interesting. I like the Electoral College because it kind of forces a candidate to, otherwise they would just, if it was popular vote, they would just go to 5 states and put all their effort there and do everything for those 5 states, and everyone else would suffer. But the Harris's interviews and stuff, they're not that good, and like I said, I'm going to do my own. I'm still going to stay with my protest vote with Jill Stein. I don't like the way the Democrats handled everything, but, and I'm voting in Delaware, so it really doesn't matter anyway. That state is 85, 90% blue. So, it's like they're systematically, they got the Taylor Swift endorsement, so she got a bunch of people registered to vote. So her voter registrations are up. And the Democrat campaign also got a $50 million donation from Taylor Swift. Now, that was the whole campaign budget for Trump in 2016. I think even less than that. So that was just one donation. And she's got like $300 million from the DNC. She's got some $5 million here from Simone Biles. and a lot of fundraising. So she's probably got like 400 million to $500 million, and they're just systematically now working it, setting up offices and campaigning and, knocking on doors, getting people registered to vote. These absentee ballots definitely work against Trump. And that's why if I ever see something as close in the polls and Trump is not ahead by +5, he's probably lost it. Because these absentee ballots definitely are not going to work for him. And the Democrats are going to do more to harvest those votes. These mail-in ballots and everything, convince these people, sit with them on the dining table and say, hey, why don't you mark this? You're going to get this free thing and that free thing. You get your loans forgiven and drop it in the mail. The Republicans are always like crying everything is a conspiracy, that they have 81 million or 200 million people supporting them, but it's not true. It really is this close. If you go into the cities in America, it's a very different attitude than out in the countryside. And so the Republicans platform is like, okay, pray, you should pray, that things get better, and then we're going to give tax breaks to the wealthy and hope some of that trickles down to you. That's kind of their that's why they lose. They really don't give a lot of motivation to middle-class voters. I mean, they're not very clear. That's the way I see it. I mean, there's all this like banter on YouTube and stuff, but most of that is just people preaching to their own audiences, trying to get their views up with their own followers. They're not really expanding, or people are not coming over. I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing, I work in an education company, and those people are, they're woke and hard Biden, because obviously the current system in America, they are, making money at it. So everyone's going to vote for their job. And then you have a whole bunch of government workers. They're the largest employer in the U.S. They're going to vote to keep their job. they don't want to deal with Elon Musk. They should have kept that a secret. They should have kept a few things a secret, before getting elected, I would have thought. But yeah, the Republicans are always crying conspiracy. I mean, if they really wanted to win this race, they should have, long time ago, 4 years ago, what were they doing? They should have been in the Supreme Court, advocating against the mail-in ballots. I mean, Trump has the court, and that should have been the first thing, is to stop the mail-in ballots. I mean, I don't agree with them, I think there's a lot of room for corruption there. People can steal them. You can go and manipulate people. You can, like I said, the scenario is you can knock door to door, ask the person to pull out that mail-in ballot from the mailbox, mark it, and then take it to the post office for them, and leave them a cheeseburger, leave them some gift cards or something. It's just, you could even do it by force. If you think about it, it really opens a Pandora's box. Everyone should show up at the voting place, and it should be, your privacy should be protected. No one should be intimidating you, and you go through on an election day or election 3 days. You could have like a Friday and then Saturday, Sunday. But that voting area should be secure and guarantee the privacy. So I don't think people should be able to. I'm a registered absentee because I live abroad. So there's to be an absentee voter, there's 4 cases or something. One is you're in the military, you can't be present at the voting place. One is you're a U.S. citizen residing abroad. And I think one is another one. I read there were 4 things that qualify you for an absentee ballot. You won't be present, or you are having medical care or something like that, or on a business trip. I don't know, but the Delaware absentee ballots actually come out today, so I'll be marking my. But I'm probably going to wait another month to see what happens. I want to see how this vice president debate goes with J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. I think it's not a slam dunk for J.D. Vance. He's definitely a good speaker and a good debater, but Walz actually has those skills too. And we thought that Trump was going to slam dunk on Kamala Harris, and he just fell apart. I mean, like I said, he won the narrative, but he didn't really win. He got some bump the way I saw it, he got some bump in some of the, like, Michigan or something, but that was more because people went to Jill Stein for a short time, more than that they were going for him, you know, so it really didn't have any effect for anybody. So, yeah, but if the election is in a dead heat, as they say it is, then it's favoring Harris, you know, and Republicans got work to do. They got to work on their ground game. They got to do campaigning. They got to be more clear on their health care, you know, how they're going to fix the health care in the U.S. I mean, the inflation argument that they made was good, that if you get the energy prices down, then the cost of food production, food transportation goes down, because food is energy. You know, you know, farming is a very energy-intensive business. So if there are, you know, fertilizers made out of petrochemicals, everything related to farming is related to oil. So if you get the you know, petrol prices down, you know, the diesel runs the tractors, you know, the costs, all these like costs of food processing factories and everything, you know, that's the variable cost. And that's what shot up during the pandemic time, and everything is electricity. And we're having huge electricity shortages in the US, you know, now because of the data centers and everything. So that was a valid argument. That I would give them some points, and that was easily understood, that you attack it at the core, instead of saying that you'll just force companies to lower their prices. They can't. There's no margin in the food business. You know, it's very, very small. So yeah, you have to attack the energy costs, the inputs. But like I said, and what does that mean for Ukraine? I mean, I was talking to my friend Sergey. He was back visiting. You know, his arm is broken. He's on medical leave. You know, we went out to lunch the other day. I told him this war can go on 8 years. He said there's not enough people to go 8 years, but there is still like I think 4 or 5 million men in this country eligible to be drafted. You know, so, you know, and then Russia has like, I think 40 million men eligible to be drafted. And so if there's 365,000 people being lost a year on both sides, let's say, because it's like a war of attrition, it can go on a long time. I mean, Vietnam had, I think, a smaller population at the time than Ukraine did. You know, now Vietnam has like 100 million people or something. It's their population exploded. But Korean War went on a while. World War II, all these things, you know, went on a long time. Afghanistan went on a long time. And it's just going to deplete the economy and decimate the population. So, you know, as I was saying, that people better be careful which pain they want, because I think at the end of this 8-10 years, it might be the same conclusion that you know, the conservatives, you know, are proposing now, but it'll just be more lives lost and more economic depletion, and, you know, more of all this you know, up and downs and everything. I mean, we don't see the Allies going like all in on this. You know, they're just going in a very limited way. But, you know, that's what they got a plan for here. They've got a plan for a Harris win. I think, you know, I think Alan Lichtman with these keys is right. You know, winning a presidency is not about, you know, winning debates and being cool. It's about these things in the background, like, okay, you're already the winning party. You know, you're already, the incumbent party is already in there. So Harris is already in the White House. She's a de facto president. Biden is out to lunch. So she has incumbency. The economy is, on paper, pretty good. I mean, most of my friends aren't complaining. You know, I mean, some people are complaining about bread prices and this and that, but they actually are doing okay, I think. They're just complaining, but not having any real hard problems. You know, so, yeah, economy is good. They haven't had, like, I mean, they had the Hunter Biden laptop scandal, but that wasn't like an impeachment or anything like that. You know, like what Bill Clinton had or Trump had, you know. So there's like these 13 keys that Lichtman goes through, and none of them have to do with debates or interviews or speeches, but more about this like campaign machinery, more about like this the hard work of knocking on doors and getting people registered on your side, getting your arguments across, in a systematic way at the ground level, having these volunteers hold forums and things like this. This is the Democrats are good at this. They've got this down to a science, the machine. Look at the south side of Chicago. That place has been going to hell for 2 generations, 3 generations, and they keep voting in the same people. It's like they just are zombie voters. But that's legal, and that's how it works. If you have good at putting up posters and making promises you can't keep and getting people to believe it, that's politics. There's nothing illegal about that. So that's what we got to look forward to here, is a long war. Long, slow slog, and it's like, that's all it is. It's more of the same. All the investment that's supposed to come in here and rebuild this place will be sidelined. People are trying to blame BlackRock for the war and all this stuff. I think this goes beyond like what a few investors care about. This is like just the government, trying to find this delicate balance. They don't want to start a nuclear war, but they don't want to let Ukraine fold either. So I think these are actually these politicians have some genuine concerns. It's just what it is. If there was no nuclear weapons, the US and Europe would be in Moscow already. If nuclear weapons weren't a factor, we would have jumped right in and, followed Prigozhin all the way up to Moscow. And that probably would have happened in the first 10 days in 2014 when the little green men showed up. So, yeah, they're just trying to find the right balance, and then they're trying to manage the expectations at home. Obviously these wars are costly, sending all this material over here. So what can we do? What can we, it's just going to go on and on and on. And unfortunately, like, the Russians have the support of India and China and Iran. So the sanctions really aren't working. There's so many back doors into Russia. There's so much material coming in through Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. When you look at the micro level, the people on the ground making, between $500 and $2,000 a month, of course a border guard is gonna, on the Uzbek side, is gonna let a truckload of iPhones go in, or let a truckload of NVIDIA chips go in, or whatever. And you find out now, like, companies in Silicon Valley are, helping to smuggle goods. There's one called SMCI, and they were helping through front companies and stuff get stuff into Russia. So it's Russia's not going to wear out anytime soon either, and neither is Ukraine. Ukraine is getting enough material support. There's enough manpower, to, if they really do this draft, they can. This can go on a long time, and neither side is, going to give up. So only thing that can, stop this war is Western interference and compromise, or U.S. like seizing Kaliningrad and, doing some bargaining, seizing some properties. But anyway, that's all I got. We'll see you. Bye-bye.